God, this is a bad beginning, but whatever, guys. I need my water because it is 1,000,000 degrees. And it says that I might be published. Nothing? Am I published or what, guys? Tell me if I'm live. If I'm live. Ah, published, which means I'm live right when I'm about to drink water, right before I go. What's going on, everybody? Seth Miranda here. If you don't know who I am and you just found this page, I am a photographer here in New York City. I'm also a host on a bunch of other social platforms, including Adorama and other things like that. What's going on, Ronald? And I try to go live once a week. I keep on missing a few, so I wanted to do something today, and I came up with like no plan of action because it is over 100 degrees. I am dying here. Oh, I got an ad coming up on my own YouTube. So a long time ago, maybe 2 years ago, at Adorama itself in the event space, I did something similar to this where I said live Q&A, ask whatever you want, and we'll figure it out in front of it. So when people would be like, well, what's the difference between this softbox and that softbox, or what do we do this and why do we do that? You interrupt the Deep Purple smoke on the water during the guitar solo. The crowd was kind of like, I don't know what to make of this. And then by the time they got the hang of it, the event was over. It went for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I want to do it here. And I also keep on doing these Q&As for you guys, and they do really well. And I do them a lot on my Instagram. And I try to do them here when I have a guest. I'd rather not do them solo all the time because how many times do you need to see my face doing that? But I mean, I got Sheila here. I got a bunch of gear. And instead of me coming up with a topic that some of you guys may or may not be good with, hey, what's up, Anders? Yeah, if you guys have any pro photo questions, Anders right there in the chat would be happy to answer any pro photo questions you have. This is not sponsored by Pro Photo. I'm not sponsored by anybody, so I can say whatever I want. And well, I'm not sponsored as of yet, but let me know what questions you guys have. What kind of lighting are you guys trying to produce out there? What are you guys having trouble with? We've done a lot on this channel, right? We did TTL using the windows. I did on-access film. We're always doing speed lights, right? And one of the most popular videos I have is easily when I shot Casey from scratch. Like, why did I use what modifiers? What did I start out? And today, I didn't even take one frame yet. Not even one frame. You can actually see the capture one right there is completely blank. So we're really starting from scratch today. So let's do it. What are some issues you guys are having and what can we do? So I made sure to get a bunch of different modifiers. I have 3-foot octaves, strips, small boxes, a giant soft lighter, because what makes a light soft? What makes a light soft? The size in relation to our subject. That is a 60-inch umbrella, flat with satin white in it, so it's not even deep, and it becomes a huge flat light source. And therefore, 60 inches, which is like 5 feet, is way bigger than Sheila's head, but pulling it to the other side of the room makes it not so soft because in relation to her, it's this big now. Let me see, I've been wanting to experiment with intentional shadow casting on the subject, okay? Like stenciled shadows. So when you do shadows, if you cast shadows, the key to doing a good shadow cast on something is the distance of your light to whatever you're trying to cast the shadow from. Let me see if I can pull out an example for you guys. Actually, Daniel Norton just did a video on this on Adorama TV. So I'm just gonna really quickly try to put something together here. So here, right, I have this, which is a decorative mesh grate that I'm sure Dan used in the video, but it was totally mine and he just took out of the studio. And the key to this casting onto Sheila correctly and getting it defined is the distance of my light to here. Because the farther my light is away from this, the harder the light gets, the more defined those shadows become, if that makes any sense. Hey man, I tried Shutter last night, turned out okay, learned a lot. Trial and error, yeah, Shutter drags are a lot of trial and error. So I think I know what I need to do next time. 2A1s is barely enough outdoors at night. It depends on what you're shooting at. It's not always about the power and the light, but what you're set to record that light with. Keep that in mind. Colored background with colored paper, not with a light source. Colored background with colored paper. If you're asking how to light a background so it looks like the color that you have selected, like I used a red paper backdrop, you have to light the backdrop. If I were to light If I were to light Sheila right now with this white backdrop, this white wall, it would turn gray. Why? Because she's so far away from it. She's in a different zone. You have to remember that if I'm shooting at, say, look at this, I'm holding a grate. Look at this, it's already a mess. Hold on. Well, maybe we'll do the shadow casting a little bit. If I'm shooting Sheila at f11, if I go over here, this is already f8. f4, and back here on the wall is going to be even wider than that. Therefore, the exposure on the wall, I know I'm yelling like I'm not wearing a mic. Therefore, the exposure on the wall is going to need a wider aperture. If I open up my aperture to f4, which is back there, and I'm shooting her with a light source that's f11, she's going to blow out. If I use f11 on her and I have another light source that's even across the backdrop, and I can meter that light to get to f11, then I have f11 on Sheila, I have f11 on the background, and then we have the color exposing at the same exposure of our subject. Does that make sense to you guys? I didn't set up a colored background, although we can do that right now. Let's take a shot. Let's do that. I'll use this ProPhoto B1X right here, and I'll show you guys that. Let me put a sandbag on this light. If you guys didn't see my last video on C-stands, go check that out. I went through how to use a C-stand properly. Inverse square, blah, blah, blah math. It's true. It's true. Blah, blah, blah math is true. So let's just light Sheila really quickly with a typical setup that I always use, which is the small box, right? A small soft box isn't going to have a lot of spread, right? So this is a very small soft box. Actually, you know what? Forget it. How about I'm going to use a 3-foot octa because that's more like generic. So here, a 3-foot octa, right? On my key light. Close this down. And I'm going to lift this up. And now we're just doing a straight up parallel light. Straight up parallel light. Now if I were to just use this light as it is, like whatever power it's at, right? Let's see. Let's do, yeah, that works. If I use this at whatever power it's at, let's make sure I even have the right channel on. Yep, okay, cool. Oh, something else is firing. Yep, that's okay. So let's say I'm shooting ISO 100. If I meter this here, it's at f9.5, right? But if I go to the wall back here and I take a meter reading, it's telling me f3.5. That means that that wall is not going to light up white. There's no way. So if I put this on, I set my exposure to what I got in the light meter, which is 9.5, and take a look. Let's see if I can get you guys to look at the screen. And you can see right there, right? There's a gray wall and not so much a white wall, right? But now if I took another light source that had a wide spread on it and I made that power to match the exposure on her, then I have an even exposure on back and front. So I'm going to use this one because it's here. Why not? It has a soft lighter on it, which is probably like not the most ideal modifier for what I do here, but let's put this up. Okay. I'm going to set this so that it's not so cocked. And I'm going to set this to about 9. Let's just see what we get. I'm going to take my light meter. I'm going to take my trigger, right? Let's do this. I'm going to shut off head A so that doesn't fire. So I'm just getting a meter reading off of this head right here. And it's saying 5.6. I'm going to need some more power out of it. In fact, I'm even going to move it in. And now it's saying 9.5, which is the same power that I just exposed at, right? So now if I put both heads on and I take a shot, in theory, that background wall should look closer to white. Not commercial white, but white. Let's take a look. And boom. White wall, which is the color that I'm choosing, right? You guys see that? So we were here. Look at that, the first 2 frames of the day. Let me see. Hold on, guys, sorry. The first 2 frames of the day is the first lesson right there. If I'm exposing for her at f9.5, and I make my light source in the back 9.5 as well, I now have a white wall which is exposing at the same exposure as my subject. Makes sense, everybody? I know, we kind of really went into that one. I didn't even look at the chat here, geez. So to wrap that up, if that was a red piece of paper for seamless, I'd light it with that much light to match my subject and I wouldn't have fall off. However, if I wanted the red to be really, really red, I'd probably put a red gel on that backlight and really saturate that red on that paper. Let me see. Oh, Vanessa Joy, what's up, girl? Like your video, driving home, catch you later, Seth. Okay, pizza day. Yeah, that's good. How with lights can you create 2-colored background with color gradients for both that are saturated on each side? Let me try to decipher what you're saying here. How with lights can you create 2-color background with the color gradients? Are you talking about like blue from the bottom and red from the top kind of a thing like that? Do you mean different colored gels for the background? Yeah, but saturating, say opposite. Oh, okay. So what you're basically doing for that type of an effect is you have to realize your light's going to burn off as it goes across your subject, right? Sorry, I'm just trying to get some more frame here. So when you're setting 2 colors to go across each other in the background like that, you're not going to point them into the corners, into the wall itself, but rather, I don't know if can you see me, but rather kind of at each other, right? And you're going to let them spill. However, if you don't want that to affect your subject, you're going to have to flag those lights so they don't spill back. Wow, this is crazy. You guys are on fire today. What's going on? Robbie, maybe I'll actually do that as a separate demo altogether. Is that cool if I do that? Because that's going to take a bunch of tooling and grip. If you're really interested in that, I will do that as a quick live demo by itself. Is that cool? Seth, a little off topic. How would you recommend triggering the camera using Pro Photo gear for light painting? Using a Canon speed light, you can remotely release the camera from the flash. Well, for light painting, you typically want to be in an all dark room or an all dark setup and open your shutter and then use your lights where you see fit. You really shouldn't have to trigger the camera in that case. However, if you needed to, Pocket Wizard definitely does allow you to control the camera from the trigger if you have the right cable, so you can look into that. Yeah, this demo today is on the fly. I didn't know how crazy it would get, but it's getting a little crazy with the bat. Let me see. They should be easy even if Anders, will the Pro Photo app be expanded to connect controls, groups, and modeling lights? I think it already does, doesn't it, Anders? The Pro Photo app actually does work in groups and channels already, I think. Hey, not bad. Can I just say that not bad for the first 2 of the day? Not bad. Real clean shots, first 2 shots right out of the bat. Didn't even use TTL. You know why? Because I used a light meter. So if all those people that tell me they don't need a light meter, I just saved myself a whole bunch of headaches. Grip question, what knuckle are you using on the key light? This is a Matthews stand, and this is just a straight up Hollywood arm. This, however, let me see. Can you guys see this? Is this in frame? No, it's not. Okay, is this in frame? This, however, is called a magic finger. It's a ball head with a 5/8 post, so you can really just put the head wherever you want and then just freeze it. It's almost like a micro articulating arm. It's pretty awesome. We have 2 of them here in our studio. It makes our lives so much easier. There'll be a ton of updates to the app. Got a recommendation for making your own flags? Yeah, flags are pretty easy. One thing you can do without spending a lot of money is get black foam core. Just straight, do I have any? Hold on, let me see if I have any, guys. Black foam core, or get black construction paper mounted to a board, but be careful if you use hot lights. Yeah, totally, here we go. So you can see here, whoop, I'm tripping over gear now. You can see here that this is super matte, so it's gonna absorb light. Or what you can do, hang on, is you can buy blank frames. Let me see. Oh, my frames are gone. Oh, I don't know if you guys can, oh no, they're here under a ton of extension cords. You can get, hang on guys. Ugh. You can get stuff like this, which is a blank frame that has a 3/8 rod in it to go right into a knuckle, right? So if I had, if I have a C-stand that has a knuckle, this feeds right into it. And then what you can do is just really quickly just clamp anything you needed. Hold on, let me just seed this. Clamp anything you needed to be a flag right to this. Super, super simple, super easy. But you can also buy flags that are just straight up seamed and sewn together for you. They're not that expensive. You just want to make sure that they're kind of heat resistant to some degree, okay? But the black foam core, listen very carefully. The black foam core as a flag, be very, very careful on high output lights. If there's heavy, if there's high wattage modeling lights, if there's hot lights, tungsten lights, you know, something with a lot of heat, use your head, okay? Don't use foam core, use Duvetine. Duvetine you can buy by the roll, and then you just put it over here, and you can actually staple it around, and you have yourself a flag. That's probably your best bet, honestly, because then you can just constantly change it as it rips or fades or whatever. Black foam core, Seth. How do you maximize and sculpt with extra large light sources? Also, can you talk about layering small sources into a large key? Yeah, okay, so when it comes to sculpting with light, what you guys have to remember is in order to sculpt, you need shadow. And your shadow is being controlled by that light source. Now, if I'm using a big light source like this 3-foot octa, you can see that on Sheila, we still have a sculpt going on, right? You can see that, can I straighten this out at all? There we go. You can see that she's kind of sculpted out, right? The more I pull this light source away from her, the more those shadows are gonna pull. Let's do that. Let me shut off the background light and let's sculpt Sheila just using this 3-foot octa. How about that? Is that cool? If that's cool, say yeah. Let me see, equipment avalanche. Yeah, I got way too much. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so I'm gonna go with B. I'm gonna shut B off. B is my background light. So now all I have going is my A light. And I'm gonna put it right into TTL because I'm gonna change the distance of it constantly and I can just do it in TTL and not worry about it. Let me see. Sorry guys, I've used black foam core, but it does kick light. Cover with black velvet or Duve. Go with Duvetine. Black velvet's very expensive and some of it just sucks. Like if it's cheap velvet, it sucks. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. The first thing I'm gonna do is check my environment and I'm gonna take a shot without any light on at all. And I'm doing this not just to get a black frame, I'm gonna show you why. So I'm gonna shoot at, let's say F11, why not? We like F11, right? So with no lights on, I should have a black frame, right? Great. However, if I go into my exposure and I pull it, I start seeing her come up at about 3 stops. This is 4 stops to make it really extra, but like 3 stops. Now what this means is that 3 stops away is my shadow. Shadows just aren't absence of light. They are how much light is absent. And right now, based on the light that's in my area, I am losing 3 stops of light to my shadow. That's important when creating shadows, and we have to create shadows in order to sculpt our subject. So let's do this. Let's put the light on. Let's put the light pretty close to Sheila. By the way, the Sheila shirt is back in the event in the merch store if you guys want to check that out. So I'm going to do this symmetrical, like light coming down, shadows casting down. Now, going close should make the softest light possible, right? The thing about the soft light is you have to remember it's about the gradation of the shadow. The softness of light is how much the shadow breaks into our highlight, okay? And that is a really big thing when it comes to deciding our modifier And a 3-foot octa is a pretty big modifier for, I don't know, what, a 9-inch head here. So let's take a TTL exposure really quick. And boom. So we can see right there, right? It's a soft, soft light. However, I'm going to give it a little bit more of a boost. I'm going to give it about a little over a half a stop of boost on the TTL. It's probably going crazy because I'm shooting white paint literally. Yeah, okay, cool. Gonna go into manual. And let's do that one more. And this is without moving the box, right? And boom. So now she's coming up and we can see right here, right, that she's got heavy shadows, but they're gradated, right? There's no real sharp lines to them, right? You can actually see, and let me see if I can do this without like making you guys dizzy and sick. You can see over here, especially right here under the lip, you can see that it softly breaks and goes to our highlight. Yeah, it goes to our next highlight. Now, if I take this 3-foot octa and I boost it, right? Now what this is gonna do, the first thing this is gonna do is eat up my power. 100% is gonna eat my power up. Now, this light source just got a little bit smaller to Sheila, but I'm gonna really make an extreme. I'm gonna go to like almost the ceiling on this. And remember, this is gonna change the spread. We might actually catch some of this background because we're gonna boost up the power on this strobe. So let's do TTL. Let's do this. Let's take a look. I can feel that there's more power coming out of that light. And boom, you can start seeing that the shadows start pulling and getting more dense, right? Does that make sense to you guys? Oh, can you see the image? So when we look at here, same light source, right? Is this not, oh, sorry guys, my GorillaPod is actually on my trackpad, so it's not doing what I want it to do. Hang on a second. If I go here to here, you guys can see the difference in the gradation, right? You can see how dense they start getting. Does this make sense to anybody? So, let me see. There we go. And you can see how dense this shadow is getting under her neck. Look at the difference, right? Look at the shadow, how it stops here, and the shadow here really starts pulling down. Can you guys see that? Is that like doable for you guys to see? You guys can see like right there the difference in pulling the shadows down. So when you're sculpting a face, you're exaggerating so much by just the distance that shadow's casting. Now the choice to use a bigger light source is how fast that gradation happens, okay? So also look at the background. The background starts lightening up, and the reason that's happening is because I'm using such a bigger light source and I'm pulling it away. She's not blocking so much of the light and it's spreading past her even more, right? Now keep in mind another reason to use a larger light source to sculpt would be maybe I want to have bounce. And in order to have a fill light, I need some sort of light that's coming away from her to bounce back in. If I was using a smaller light source, there'd be no surface area for me to bounce back in. Can you guys even see me? I can't even tell if I'm in the thing anymore. Yeah, so now let's say I want to bounce. I have all this extra light to bounce in. Let's grab a reflector. You know what I'm going to grab, right? You guys know what I'm going to grab next. I can feel it in the chat. One of these guys really quickly, right? And all I got to do is take this. I do a whole demo on fill light if you guys ever see it on Adorama's Facebook. If I pull it right there, nope, I'm too close to her. And boom, she starts filling in her shadows. You see that? It starts evening out. And then the farther I hold my fill card away, the more and more those shadows still, the closer it is, the less the shadows are farther away, the more the shadows come back into play. So that's another way to start sculpting. Let me see. Can you add a smaller light source affecting only the portion of the face as an effect? Yeah, so I totally could. In fact, a very common setup is actually a 5-foot octa with a beauty dish in the middle. Believe it or not, you get the punch from the beauty dish hitting the face, and then the 5-foot octa to like bathe the scene a little bit. This is a 3-foot. I tell you what, how about this? How about we do the 5-foot soft lighter, right? We take this out of the equation, and we'll do the, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Philip, you got me going now. Let's do it. I'm gonna do this on my key, and I'm gonna put that as my fill. And you know what this turns into, guys? It turns into on-axis fill, which we did 3 videos ago. If you're watching using A1 with a B1X, behind me was the 3-foot octa, in front of me was the smaller box. Same concept, okay? So yeah, you totally could, totally could. How was that so far with the bigger light source sculpting thing? Was that all right? If you guys can't hear me, I have the AC running because it's 102 degrees here in New York and I am dying on my feet. Hold on. Oh, sorry guys. Does that make sense to everybody? Are we good? It's crazy because there's like this lag on the chat compared to where I am in real life, so it's kind of hard. But I am determined to make this channel all live and not do edited videos because I don't live in edited time. All right, cool. So let me drop this guy. And let me take off this 3-foot octa. Oh, it's so sweaty in here. My gosh. Ugh. Now what I'm going to do is I'll put on this tiny guy, this 1 by 1.3. Okay, cool. 1 by 1.3, right? So now I have to meter these separately. Why? Because if I want this to be my key, that means that the light that's bigger than this behind it either has to match or go lower in exposure. Don't die, all right? Yeah, I might die, I might die. It's good for you to sweat a little. Anders, you guys always have me sweating there over a pro photo, you know that? Come on, all I do is get hate for using the A1s all the time. They're like, oh, why is it so expensive? And I gotta go, because I've dealt with stuff that drives my life crazy and the A1 never does. So, all right. So let's try to make this as not a mess as possible. Let me move a bunch of stuff out of the way. Okay, move this. Sorry if this is a little slow, guys. There's no way I could have prepared for this. I'm literally going off of whatever you're telling me you want to get into. So let's do that. Let's put this down. I'm going to wake this light up. And I'm going to put this light right on top of her. So now what we have to do is we have to figure out what the exposure is for each of our light sources, because if my giant light source becomes more powerful than this as an exposure, meaning if this registers as F11 by itself and this one only F8, this is actually my fill light and it's not my key. Make sense? We want this to be the dominant exposure or matching. So let's do that. Let's go in, let's take, I'm going to turn the B off here. Head B, B head off. There we go. Head A is firing, and I am going to get this set up where I want it position-wise, right? And I'm looking at it, we're good. It's nice, it looks hot light source. Will the brightness combine to increase the overall f-stop brightness when they're both in front of one another? Let's find out. So here I'm gonna fire, and I'm getting f9.5, which is all right. Let's take a shot with just that light and see what it looks like. Which is probably gonna be like my typical shot of all the time. So that's our initial exposure, right? It looks a little hot to you guys, so I'm actually gonna change my exposure to kind of make it look better on the screen for you guys, okay? This should be a little bit better looking to you on the screen. Does that look better to you guys? It should. It should. But it really isn't blown out. If you look at it, you can see texture and all the white. Okay, so it's not blown out. Now, I'm going to take this soft lighter. this giant, enormous soft lighter, and I'm going to inch it in here. And I'm going to stand where my model is and really look where my key and my, my fill is going, because technically this is a fill. It's just on access to the light and not on access to the lens. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Should I arc this up a little bit? Does that help if I do this? Does this help? Can you guys see what I'm doing? I can't tell. Let me see if I do this, if it helps you guys out. Better? So you can see that this is my 5-foot soft lighter, and this is my 1x1x3 key light. So I'm going to take off A, I'm going to go to B, turn that head on, and now I'm going to take a meter reading of just this light and take a shot just seeing this. And it's reading at f8, which is pretty great. That means that it's a stop, it's less than a stop away than my key light. I can actually lower this down to make less of an exposure, but let's take a look at what this light looks on its own. So I said this was f8, right? Keep in mind there's a light blocking it, so it's going to look darker than you think probably. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Probably shmeh. Oh, it's really soft. Look at that. Look at that. Wow, that is way soft. Can you guys see that? It's like evening out the entire world. I'm also shooting on a white floor, so this is going to get interesting pretty quickly, actually. I'm going to take this down by a stop, and I'm going to take a look at it again. I'm also shooting a white painted model. Can we just save this? Can we just? Okay, there we go. That's better. You can actually see that there's fall off around, right? So now let's put them together. Let's go into A. And before I even take a shot, let's see what the meter reading is. And my meter reading is right where I left it for this light, because it's reading the dominant exposure, which is my key light. Let's take a look if all this mixes together. I know I need picture-in-picture, and the only way I'm going to do that is if I get a Sling Studio, and that's why I monetize the channel, guys. So if you want to send any support, any gear that you get, you can go to this link I just put into the chat, adorama.com/lastxwitness. Any gear you get will help support this channel and my merch store as well, not to mention just hitting like and getting your friends to subscribe a little bit. All right, let's put this all together now. Let me just make sure. Yeah, okay. This light is not even seated right. I put it on too quickly, guys. Ugh. Hang on a second, I just want to pull this back a little bit. There we go. Okay. Let's do it. Okay, I'm curious myself how this is going to look. And boom, really even, punchy key light and my background, right? So this was just my key. This was just my fill. And now we have, I'm sorry, this is my fill. This is my key, this is my fill, this is my key and fill. You can see the difference, right? Okay, let me put that right up here. So what's happening here is, let's see if I can decipher this for you guys. Can I put this closer? Right here, we have a very, very sculpted key light because it's harder, right? It's a 1x1x3 box. Over here is just the 6-foot soft light. You can see the shadows over here is from this physical light blocking that light. And now putting it together, you can see the background illuminates, right? And her shadows are way softer. Look, right here, right? Look at that, and then look at here. Whoops. Look at the difference. Huge, huge difference, huge. And you're gonna get different skin textures because of this. And you're gonna get different spreads of light because of this. Does this make sense to you guys? I'm not sure if I'm explaining things like the most legit way for you, and I'm sure that the whole picture, like filming a screen thing isn't ideal, but do you guys get what's happening here? Because essentially, your key light should be the dominant exposure. Otherwise, the dominant exposure of the other lights becomes your key, right? So this is a really fun way to do this. If I were to do this for real, I would probably not do it with a small softbox, and would probably do it with something punchier like a beauty dish if I had the right shaped face for it. I wouldn't put this type of light into someone with the wider cheekbones. This is for like more of a sculpty person. Or I would probably even do like a Magnum reflector, which we could do, but she's painted white. She's literally going to be a living reflector. Well, she's not even living. I mean, is she? Hello? Hi. Oh, I didn't even know you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, it's not. I'm not using you. I'm not just using you for your looks. I love hearing what you have to say. I'm serious. Anyway. I know. Stop. First time that setup made sense to me. Oh man, that's fantastic. Really. It's kind of crazy. I don't know how to explain it, but it more than when you're around it every day and you're shooting with people that shoot the same things you shoot, do the same work you do, things like that, you don't realize what doesn't make sense to people around you, or like an audience that might be growing their skill set. So it's kind of hard. Try a hard light as a key. Sure. Okay. Let me see what I got. Oh man. Okay, so I tell you what, we'll do the hard light as a key, and then we'll cast a shadow of like some crazy stuff. Sound good? With the octa as an on-axis fill. You know what? This is close enough to an octa. I'm not going to swap lights around for an octa, but I will do a really hard key light. So let me see if I have a Magnum around here somewhere. Or I could just do it. Nah, I'd rather not do a spread. Here we go. This is Daniel's. I'll borrow Daniel's. So this is a Profoto OCF Magnum, which should fit this light. The problem with the Magnum that I'm going to run into is that it actually gives you more light. You actually have all the mirrors in here that will magnify the exposure that you're doing. So we kind of have to start over a little bit. I have to get the exposure of just this key light. Let me see. All right, so let me shut off this light. B, shut that head off. And let's go into A. Whoop. Let's address the elephant in the room, gels. Yeah, I'd have to scrounge for some gels. I'm not kidding you. I literally came into the studio. Half of my kit is at Adorama. The other half is at my crib, and I'm just using whatever stuff I have around the studio right now. So you guys are gonna have to settle for a bunch of Profoto stuff. Oh, I know, we're slumming it. All right, let's do this. Wow, yeah, so just changing that modifier, I'm at F19 on this light, which means I'm gonna drop it down because I want it to be like a stop away from here, right? So I wanna get it back down to like F11, F9, F11, somewhere around there. So let's go F19, 2, 3, let's see. Nope, too much. There we go, perfect, perfect. Let's take a shot with just this as the key light, because why not? Ow, damn it. Oof. And I just stabbed myself in the head with a rod. I don't think there's any blood, which is great. Let's see what this looks like just as a key light. Let me see if it's flashing where I want it to flash first. Yeah, this will work. Let's take a look. And we have a really hard light source, which kind of looks close to that softbox, right? So if I just turn on head B, and we complete the whole shebang that we just did, right? I didn't just steal a trademarked word, I swear. I swear, guys. And boom. Now we have that punchy key and a fill filling up the entire room. All right? And if I wanted to, I could adjust the exposure tighter on the soft lighter. And that's what we get, is a little more of a controlled background, okay? And it's not blown out. I can see all this paint detail in the highlights. It's just that flat of a light now. Does that make sense to you guys? That sometimes that we think light is like washing our subject out or overexposed. What it's really doing is minimizing the gradational tones of shadows, and therefore the textures go away. Man, I really poked my head there. Oof. Anyway, since I got this Magnum reflector on there, let's throw it on the background. How about we do that? Let's take the Magnum reflector, put it on the background, and try to cast the shadow from that grate across the wall. How's that? Sound good? If that sounds good, say yeah in the chat, because I got to set it up. Okay, so now I have to put up an arm in order to grab the grate. Let me just check the chat really quick. We'll do this so we're more in the room. Yeah, okay, that's not a bad idea, Robert. Helmets are useful when doing photography. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. I get hurt all the time. If you guys have followed my Instagram, look years back when I shot BMX, I cracked my skull open multiple times, and there's photos on the old, on a lot of my far old posts on Instagram with my head just smacked open with a cop taking a statement, which was awesome. So to mount this really easily, let me grab a clamp fast. You know, I totally thought this demo was going to be a mess because there was no plan, but sometimes that's the best way to go about it, right, guys? Okay, so what we can do is stretch the arm out, put it over the tall leg like I've been telling you guys, right? And then just take the flat part of the knuckle, separate it, tighten it down, give me a little bit more of an arm on it. And bingo bango, you got yourself a mounted piece of grate. I don't know if you guys can even see what I'm doing, right? Can you? Sorry, Sheila. Sorry, girl. And you got yourself a mounted grate. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I have to place this somewhere that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this up, and I'm going to put it right here. Actually, we'll flip it this way so I'm less in the shot. And I have my Magnum pointed at this thing about, oh, I don't know, 2.5 feet away from it. And what I can do is I can put on my modeling light, and I can look and see the casting on the wall and see if it's enough of a focused light for me, okay? Now, I can tell you right now that it's probably not going to, we'll inch it in more. And we'll lift it up. Let's see if we can get this thing to cast on the wall. Watch me fail at this one, guys. Watch me fail this one. Now, here's how I'm going to cheat, though. I'm going to use the longer part of my lens to compress the background so that it's less showing me the fall off of the light. Grabbing your gear and trying this stuff is far more valuable than the new camera and just announced. Yeah, I know. I just don't understand the whole guys that have channels that sit in an armchair talk about spec sheets, especially when they don't even have the cameras in hand. They're just like, I saw them say this. Who cares? Honestly, there's not been one single shoe where I haven't injured myself in some way. Yeah, I know. I'm the same way. All right, so that light is on A. So just the power setting that it's on with the exposure setting that I'm at, which is f11, I'm just going to take a shot and see what it looks like, because you don't even know, right? So I'm going to go into B. I'm going to shut that head off, which is this thing. I don't need it right now. And then we're going to figure out a key light for her after we set this up. Okay. Let's see what this looks like. I'm just gonna take a really wide shot of the studio. Let's just see what it looks like. And no light showing up, which means that I don't have enough power coming out of it. So I'm just gonna juice this thing up to like 8, and let's just see what happens now. And we have, I should just meter it. This is why it's stupid to just do trial and error. So you can see that it's, actually, can you guys see that? It's not a defined pattern because she is so far away from that background that even if I make that shadow sharp, the bokeh of the lens is gonna make that shadow out of focus, right? So what I actually have to do is put her closer to the background that I'm trying to have an exposure, that I'm trying to have in focus, right? So now we're like all over the place. I just moved her maybe 5 feet away from that wall, okay? So let me see if I can scoot you guys over. So now she's closer to that wall. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save myself some time and just do a light meter reading off the wall, because why the hell not? F6, 7, and I'm shooting at what, 11? Yeah, I'm at F11. So I'm going to juice this light up another stop. Take another light meter reading. Well, more than just a stop and a third. There we go, 9.5. That feels pretty good to me. Let's take a look at what 9.5 looks like. Oh, I didn't have the trigger on. Just so you guys, I just wanted to see if you guys are watching. Just want to make sure you were up. Just want to make sure you were watching. Let's take a look. And now now this is where we'd have to flag the light because it's spilling all over her probably. This is turning into a mess. Because the light is spilling all over her right now, right? So we have to fix this whole janked up light setup that I just got going. Case in point, I'm gonna use a flag. I just built one for Robbie, right? Here it is. Gonna grab a clamp real fast, because why not? Okay. Let's see. This is what happens when you talk instead of figuring out what you're trying to do the whole time. All right, let's see if this does what I want it to do. Let me move this ladder away. Okay. Let's see if this works. So this is a benefit of using constant lights or using your modeling lights, honestly. Let me just take a real quick light meter reading off of that back wall, because we don't know what's going on right now. Yeah, it's at F11 on the wall now, which is kind of bananas. Magnum reflectors don't play, kids. They do not play. Those things are for real. Let's take a look. So if I'm focused on her, odds are the back wall's still gonna look out of, oh, I forgot the trigger again. You guys are supposed to watch me on this. What's wrong with you? Come on. Let's take a look. And you can see how it's not an even light source on it. You need a bare flash bulb to get a pattern. You don't need a bare flash bulb to get a pattern. You need it farther enough away from the actual texture to make it a hard enough light to cast. You don't need bare bulb. I've done it plenty of times with straight up strobes like this with a soft lens on. In fact, you could even see Dan do a whole video on this where he colored them also. If I focus on the wall, just curious. And you see how this is actually the shadow starting to show up? Bananas, yeah, bananas is right. Oh, I don't want to waste this whole stream doing this because no matter what I do, it's going to keep bouncing off the floors and filling in the shadow on the background that I'm trying to create, which is a very tight pattern. If I had a looser pattern, it'd probably be easier for you guys to see it, actually. I don't want to eat up this whole stream doing this though, guys, and I don't want to have to break out black to lay on the floor either, because that's going to suck if I have to do that. Actually, you know what would help this out? A grid. Instead of this Magnum. So now I got a small grid on there. Let me take a light meter reading now that I have a grid on there. Yeah, well, the all-white studio is awesome when you go, let's get this shot really quick and all you have is daylight to worry about and all this stuff, but in the end, it kind of sucks when you're trying to control light. Let me see. Again with the trigger. I'm doing too much at once. I'm doing too much at once. Let me open up. And let me focus on the wall and you guys will actually start seeing it. Hold on. So you guys, can you guys see that? It's sitting there. It's sitting there. If I focus, if I get her close to, if I move this whole entire thing close to the wall, it'll be more focused, but let me do this. Can you guys see that pattern through picture in picture or no? You probably can't see it, can you? It's visible, right? It's faint on, this video of a video is not helping me out today. However, that's how you get it. You get more focused down light, harder light source, and the more distance you have between the light and the thing you're trying to cast the shadow on, the more defined your shadow will get. I enjoy the seat of the pants videos, the verbal thought process. We learn more about than a formal demo. I don't think I've ever had a formal demo. I think every demo I've ever done has been a mess. Let me try a little bit of a wider grid just for my own sake. But the real way I would do this, honestly, is I would put the grate low. I'd put the light low behind my subject and cast it kind of upwards more than across the long ways. Would it be better visible with a weaker flash? Actually, what's funny is because you're moving the light farther and farther away from the grate, the farther it goes away, the more you're eating up power. So the more power you have, but focused, the better, actually, believe it or not. What you don't want is any type of diffused light which scatters, right? Which gets around our shadows a little bit. We don't want to do that. So you really want to have like a focused light from far away, which is like your best bet. Let me see. Why not? Let's take another shot. Why not? This one's just for fun. Just for fun. You can see where the shadows actually start, right? As opposed to the clean wall, which is up here. Does that make sense to you guys? The bare bulb has nothing to do. Okay, so let's talk about bare bulb for a second. Bare bulb is a 360-degree expulsion of light. What that does is evenly fill inside something that's a modifier to expel forward, like a diffusion panel of, say, a 3-foot to 5-foot octa. A bare bulb does not focus down light or make it any different to define patterns. Okay? A snoot is literally just like shooting through a hole. It's not, the grid will actually stop the spread of the light as it leaves the point of source, but a snoot is literally the same spreading of light just shot through a hole, which is a different feel. In fact, a lot of people just give up on snoots after a while because there's no, you're very set to that one point, as opposed to a grid where after it leaves you can do things between the light and the subject to change that light source a little bit. A Fresnel makes in more of an even light, which is what kind of ProPhoto did with the A1, as opposed to making a harder smack of light. It actually breaks it a little bit more. So what's happening here is more about the way I set it up. This has to be closer to the wall. She has to be closer to the wall. This has to be farther back. And I can't have any light bouncing off the floor interrupting my pattern, or the ceiling for that matter. So a lot of things are happening here that are impeding the pattern. Now the ProPhoto head, no 360 shot with a modifier, they have a built-in reflector. The ProPhoto heads have 160 degree or 140 degree spread. In fact, it's probably more beneficial to have it built in and being able to shoot raw with the light than have a 360 degree bare bulb, which, by the way, in my experience, I've shattered plenty of them, especially on my Speedotrons. I don't know why we're arguing over this. If you're not into my point of view, you don't have to watch, it's fine. But I'm telling you that the 360 degree bulb has nothing to do with what's happening right here. All right, we did a lot, huh? How long have we been going for? I don't even know what time it is. It is 2:24. What time did I start this? Like an hour ago? So yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna call it there because I'm like sweating to death. Yeah, so if you guys, that's why it isn't a bare bulb. Yes, we get that it's not a bare bulb on a ProPhoto flash. I don't understand what you're arguing with me about. What you're trying to tell me is that a bare bulb is the reason I can't. You're gonna tell me that no ProPhoto system can cast a shadow pattern on anything? Then you're kind of crazy. So enjoy that when 90% of what you see out there in fashion is shot with this same style of lighting, but okay. 102 degrees, still in a flannel shirt. I got 2 air conditioners going in here and it's not helping. It's a daylight studio with a ton of UV light and I am just dying. Yeah, all right. I think I'm gonna call it on this one. I hope this one was all right. I didn't want to do like a straight up talk to the camera because we did a bunch of those. My next time I do it, I want to have some guests. I think I have a few people coming in. Do you guys have AC in NYC? Yeah, I have 2 air conditioners running right now, but there is just no air. It's the humidity that's kind of killing me. I mean, this shirt is just soaked right now. And thank God I'm not using hot lights because I'd probably die. So yeah, listen, if you guys are into this type of stuff, let me know. If it looks warm. Good job, the model is looking good. Yeah, she doesn't sweat. That's the best thing about Sheila. You have been shooting 57 minutes up to your complaining about the heat. Wait, what? You have been streaming for 57 minutes up to your complaining about the heat. Yeah, well, you know, I'm from New York. We deal with the heat, I guess. All right, so I'll see you guys for Adorama Rewind. There's, I do have another demo coming in August 13th. I'll be doing character lighting, which is a lot about sculpting of light. I don't know, I'm kind of running out of what to do live for you guys. One of these days I pop on your streams and it's not that's not wrapping up. you guys can write comments down below. We'll stay on questions. Sometimes they'll lead me into like the next demo. Like Robbie, I'll do your bleeding colors together if you want. We can do that together. And more of this. Okay. Missed the show. Great stuff. Thank you so much, Anders. I keep forgetting what I'm trying to tell you guys. Oh, I got stickers. I got new stickers. So if you guys want, DM me on Instagram, and let me show you. I got my Adorama Live View logo on clear vinyl, and I got my glasses logo on black and white clear vinyl, so you guys can grab some of those. If you guys want to get some of these stickers, just DM me on Instagram at LastXWitness. Creative catch lights. That's funny you say that, Anders, because I'm one of the few guys that shoots commercially that likes when I don't get catch lights and eyes. Shutter drag. Man, everybody always wants to do shutter drag. I feel like I did that 100 times and people just don't get enough of it. But I hope the last one was a good one. We did that dark Phoenix shot on Adorama's Facebook. Yeah, Robbie, I think I'm gonna do the bleeding colors as its own separate demo. I can clear this out and get a better rig going as opposed to this like, hey, let's throw some junk together. If you want to see Seth rant, watch him on Twitch. Yo, you guys are crazy if you don't come join us on Twitch. We're giving away a laptop again. So the first 3,000 followers on twitch.tv/AdoramaXP, you guys can just hit follow and boom, you're entered in a raffle to win a $2,000 laptop. It's awesome. Thanks for the stream, Seth. You're a great teacher. Maybe next time you can go live outside with a model and teach us how to take great photos. Philip, if it wasn't 102 degrees, I'd go on this balcony. We have a balcony here in the studio. It's just sickly hot out. It is insane. It's insane. Maybe do some night street photography with flash. Oh, that's a thought. I'm rarely available at night, though. That's the problem. Okay. Maybe we'll do some street night flash. Okay. Noted. Would be super cool if you did outdoor shutter drag demo at night. I tried to be awesome to see from the master. Yeah. Okay. Shutter drags, flash at night. That's funny because I could just show you photos from like 2004 when I shot BMX on slide film, and that's basically all we did was ghosting and shutter drag in the street with flash. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll see if I can find one of my old riding buddies and we'll do some BMX shots outside maybe. I don't know. I will be doing a live stream where we shoot pole dancing, not strippers, like fitness pole dancing. Could you show me Gobos? Oh, Gobos are, yeah, we could go over Gobos. I have a focusing spotlight in the back there that I have to wire up. It's pretty dangerous, but it's awesome. I'll think about the Gobos thing. I make a lot of Gobos out of glass, actually, using barbecue spray paint because it's heat resistant. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Maybe I could show that. I think I'm going to be doing a live stream on how to make fake blood really fast on the fly if you can't go and buy some. And I will be shooting the pole dancing soon. I just have to find a day to get to where I got to go to do that. You guys have seen some of that stuff on my Instagram. A lot of ghosting on that one as well. Listen, guys, I really appreciate you being part of this. Could you recommend a good 120 film to me? I don't even know what's out there anymore. How sad is that? I have plenty. I like Acros a lot. I like Fuji Velvia and Provia a lot. There's a lot of good medium format films coming out from independent companies. You know who has really good articles on film? Phoblographer. The Phoblographer. The Phoblographer has a lot of good articles on what film is being produced now by independent companies. I bet you could find some really cool 120 film. I mean, Halloween's coming up, kids. I got to show you guys how to make proper blood. Ectar 100 push 2 stops. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. I used to do Velvia 100 shot at 64 ISO. That was my thing. Personally, I liked my my exposure at 64 on those. Okay. Oh no, I'm sorry. Not 100. I'm sorry. Velvia 50 ISO shot at 64 ISO to underexpose it to saturate the colors just a touch more. Ugh, geez. Have you seen the Lightroom presets created by the Kodak guys themselves? As far as presets go, I'm not a big believer in them. You hear me rant about them all the time. But if you wanted film simulation, I'm kind of happy with this company, RN as in Nancy, RNI Film Simulation has been pretty good. They sent me a bunch for Capture One, and they are pretty legit. They seem pretty. I'm pretty into it. Okay. Oh boy, vehicles or BMX shutter drag with a model in front of speedlights, varied gels, creative background, subject to something I think many might like to see. Yeah, so I'll figure that out. Let's wait till summer dies a little bit. I will be out of the country for a bunch of September, so I'll see what I can come up with. You might get some videos from Europe. Be aware. Be very aware. Okay. Okay, I think I'm gonna cut it there, guys. Go to adorama.com/lastxwitness. If you pick up any gear, any of those, anything you pick up will help this channel out. Maybe I can get to a point where I get some gear for picture-in-picture. Check out Daniel Norton and me at 1200sessions.com. We're doing workshops right here in our studio, hands-on. So if you're in New York, 1200sessions.com, 1200. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'll see you guys on Adorama TV for sure. And I just did a live stream on Adorama's IG, so it'll be on their IGTV soon. I shot a Barbie Polaroid camera. You guys can see how I did that. Where in Europe? Yeah, IBC. We're going to IBC, Anders. I'll be in Amsterdam and hopefully London. I'm working on my what I'm going to be doing in London. I'm not sure yet. Presets are useful. I've made some for myself or concerts of it because I need to get them done fast. No, presets are cool when you make them yourself and there's like a real reason behind them, but there's people that buy like trendy Instagram people's presets, slap it on there and think, oh, look, it's a better photo. Is it? Could it have been a good photo without that garbage all over it? You tell me. Again, that Daniel Norton guy. Yeah, that guy, that freaking guy. I'm stealing his flannel for today. Shh. I think we're gonna get an ice cream cake. I think today's the day. I'm gonna go take a walk and get me an ice cream cake and just sit here like a fat kid and eat a whole ice cream cake. I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Although I gotta clean up all this gear. In late, but see Sheila on a laptop. We'll need to watch the full video later. Yeah, Deacon, you missed out a good one. So yeah, if you guys know anybody that's in the photo community, or maybe there's some forums you guys are part of, share the channel around. The more this channel grows, the more I can put into it to create better live streams for you. I'm trying not to spend anything of my own money on this channel, but let it grow on its own. So if you want to share it around, once it's a preset you can buy, it's over. Yeah. Cookie Puss. Yeah, Cookie Puss is some old school Carvel right there. You could create a preset that does nothing called get it right in camera. You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I almost put up my black and white preset for sale. The color grading I made for Vanessa Joy's shoot, I almost put up for like $1, and I don't know. Teach us Cadence black and white and Capture One. Cadence is my old black and white. Vanessa Joy is my new black and white. Believe it or not, I retooled it, and I'm pretty into the way I retooled it. I like the mid-tone luminance a little better, so to speak. I'm very picky when it comes to black and white, and I don't know. I feel like if I sold presets, I'd be such a hypocrite now, and that's the last thing I want to be. Oh, okay, one more drink of water. Last questions, kids, because I'm out of here. Last questions. All right. Same mold as Fudgy the Whale. Yeah, it basically is, right? Except they put an ice cream cone on top of it. And Santa put it. That's so funny. I haven't heard Cookie Puss in a while. That was a Beastie Boys song. We all love Beastie Boys, especially if you're from New York. So yeah, if you guys want any stickers, let me know. DM me at LastXWitness on Instagram, and I will give you the information on getting some of my new stickers. The merch shop is still going if you want to catch any t-shirts or anything with my images on them. And of course, if you buy anything, adorama.com/lastxwitness. All right. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Wow, that was kind of a workout, actually. Whew, man. I will see you guys next time. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. share it around, write some comments, talk to each other in the comments. I hope my comments become like their own forum for you guys to like share ideas and talk to each other a little bit. That would be amazing. All right, guys, thank you so much. Mwah!